Hi, my name is Kamer. Today I will be talking to you about school uniforms. Are they helpful or harmful? During his 1996 State of the Union address, Bill Clinton said, "If it means that teenagers will stop killing each other over designer jackets, then our public schools should be able to require their students to wear uniforms." This kicked off a movement of more and more schools establishing new school uniform policies. Although in theory using school uniforms is a good idea, in practice there are many downsides to it. For example, uniforms deprive students of their freedom of expression and promote conformity. They increase violent attacks and lower academic achievement. And finally, instead of eliminating socioeconomic divisions, it emphasizes them. Uniforms cause students to conform and lose their right of expression. In the Constitution, a person is granted with the freedom of expression. A form of expression is in their clothes. There have been many court cases where this enforced conformity has been challenged. In these court cases, such as Richards versus Thurston and Tinker versus Des Moines Independent School District, the court sided in favor of individuality. It isn't logical for students and teachers to be deprived of their constitutional rights when they walk into a school. Not only does this conformity enforce this conformity, but it also teaches kids that it is okay to conform. Schools try to endorse diversity, but the message of conformity contradicts this. A young student named Kyler Sumter wrote in the Huffington Post talking about how in school, kids learn about great figures like Susan B. Anthony and Rosa Parks, who express themselves to the fullest, but students themselves are forbidden to express their individuality. Conformity causes students to follow along with the crowd. If schools start with dictating what the students are wearing, where will it lead to? Following the crowd will cause students to never stand up for themselves, and this could lead to worse things. There is evidence showing that school uniforms possibly increase violent attacks and lowers academic achievement, which shows very little benefit of them. Violence is a large concern because students shouldn't be scared to go to school. According to procon.org, there was a peer-reviewed study done in 2007 that showed school uniforms increased the average number of assaults by 14 per year in the most violent schools. Also, in 1999, at Texas Southern University, after uniforms were introduced, their discipline incidents rose by 12%. Academics are everything when it comes to school. There was a study done at Virginia Tech about the correlation between students and uniforms. There was a negative effect in academics when it came to the students in the uniforms, but everything else studied, such as absenteeism, was not affected. This shows that uniforms have no benefits. In a small survey I distributed, people tend to lean towards the statement that uniforms will not prevent students from being distracted from their schoolwork. One reason for students to wear school uniforms is to break down the barriers of the different socioeconomic classes that can sometimes be caused by clothes. Although this is the case, it can sometimes cause opposite effects. It has been found that a lot of schools that enforce a uniform are in poor neighborhoods. 47% of impoverished public schools enforced a uniform, while 6% of low-poverty schools did not use them. These statistics come from the National Center of Education Statistics. This causes a division in students between different schools. A uniform also cannot hide socioeconomic classes. Students that are wealthier tend to have more than one uniform, while students who are impoverished tend to only have one, and then that one uniform becomes faded, tattered, and all around looking rough. In the small survey that I gave, I asked a few questions, two of which were whether or not people thought a school uniform would teach kids to dress modestly and help not to distract students from their schoolwork. For these two questions, people disagreed, meaning they believed there was no benefit to having school uniforms. Uniforms don't have enough pros to outweigh the cons, making them non-beneficial and irrelevant. We must end these uniforms before we raise a society full of conforming, dull humans.